Today we're going to be walking the Sunset Harbor neighborhood in South Beach, in Miami Beach. It's a pretty small neighborhood, so it'll be a shorter walk, but an interesting one for sure. One thing that's really cool about this spot is you have a lot of these little cafes and restaurants around here. And they're all very nearby because this neighborhood is only a few square blocks, which you guys can see right on the map that I will have in the link of the description for you, so you can see my exact route that I walked. Now, as far as housing goes, there's really not too many places to live here. The building you first saw back there is one of the main buildings here. And then there's this really large townhouse complex here on my left. And those are pretty much the only spots to live here. There's not much else as far as housing goes. There is a gated community a couple blocks up and to the left, but it's not really part of this neighborhood. It's kind of like its own little neighborhood. They do have their own Publix here. And the townhouses over there start at around $1.5 million, so it's pretty expensive to live in this neighborhood. But it is one of the most convenient and probably unknown neighborhoods in Miami Beach. Just being able to afford to live here is the main thing. And the building you saw when I first opened up the video, it costs about in the high 400,000s to buy a one bedroom there. And that's the starting price, of course. It can get more expensive than that. And the two bedrooms there start around 600,000 and up. So no matter which way you slice it, it's expensive to live down here. And this right here that you see to my left is one of the pump stations that Miami Beach has installed throughout the city, because this area was one of the worst flooding areas in Miami Beach before they installed the pump system. And so now when it rains, they hardly get any flooding down here thanks to the pumps. And that's pretty much the system they're implementing throughout the city, and better drainage. Some areas they're raising streets and things like that to try to mitigate the flooding situation, like you guys might have seen in one of my videos from a couple weeks ago. It can get pretty bad. And you see there's all kinds of little shops here as well. Little boutique stores, jewelry, clothing. Mostly fancy stuff. I can see they're working on a new building over there. I don't believe it's ready yet. So I'm not sure how much that will cost. Got another little cafe up here on the corner. Sunset Juice Cafe. It's a nice little place, not too expensive. So right across the way over there is that gated community I was telling you about, and that's kind of like its own separate little neighborhood. And then straight ahead, you have a little park there for kids, playground. And this is kind of like the perimeter, basically. And we're gonna have to maneuver around in a unique way because some of these streets are under construction. So I'll do my best to try to get you guys around here. Normally we can walk straight. So right now where I'm walking, this is actually Alton Road. And this is like the easternmost point of the Sunset Harbor neighborhood. And we started just back over there by those buildings. So we got like a repair shop here for cars, tires, brakes, that kind of deal. And an extremely overpriced gas station up here. The gas here is always like 50 or 80 cents above all the other gas stations. Location's very convenient to just stop by and fill up, so they never run out of business. And then right next door they have an animal hospital, which is where most people in Miami Beach take their pets. And then right up on the corner here is a brand new building. This wasn't here just a couple years ago. In fact, I think they just completed it about a year and a half ago, something like that. So it's very new still, and I've never actually been inside it yet. I know they have a bank up here on the corner, and then on the second floor is a Michael's. Not my Michael's, but the store Michael's. They have like the arts and crafts stuff. But I would say the main attraction to this neighborhood is the fact that it's so small and relatively unknown. So if you're a local and you live in one of these buildings over here, you know, you almost have this whole little spot to yourself. And it's pretty nice, you know, to have a fresh market there. You got Trader Joe's just on the other side over there where we did the West Avenue walking tour. And the Publix, plus all these little restaurants and cafes. You got a car wash place here. And then anybody who saw my West Avenue walking tour will know what I'm talking about here. But right here and then down to the left is kind of where we ended the last West Avenue walking tour. And I'll bring you guys down there so you can see what I mean. And that's why I said I wasn't going to walk all the way to the end of West Avenue, because the end is behind me. And since this is like a different neighborhood, I wanted to save this part of West Avenue for this walking tour video. We even have a storage facility down here, right there. Someone's not happy. So yeah, right on the other side of this little bridge here, right over there is where we turned around when we were doing the West Avenue walking tour. And going down this direction for just a couple blocks is the rest of West Avenue, which I will take you down right now. So I'll kind of do like a little zigzag through the neighborhood here. I'll go down and up these little streets, and then I'll finish up by the marina to show you guys that. sushi restaurant on the corner, Fresh Market straight ahead, which is a grocery store, and it's actually one I never heard of until I moved here to Florida. It's very expensive, even more expensive than Whole Foods. No surprise there, I suppose. That used to be a restaurant over there. It looks like it's out of business though. Now I have a cool history of where we're at right now, because whenever I first drove to Miami, when I was just 20 years old, right where I'm about to show you is where I first ended up in Miami Beach. And it was completely on purpose, because this was the location of the modeling agency that signed me on to actually get me down here. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. Now it looks like there's a Vespa store here. And the modeling agency, I believe, used to be right inside this door where it says South Beach Animal Hospital, and then up here on the second floor. So every time I used to come down here for castings, I used to stop by here, pick up some headshots and things like that. And they actually used to have a lot of castings right over in that building right there. So I went to a bunch of castings there, and it was pretty convenient because it was right across the street from the modeling agency. And you know, when I came down here, I wanted to stop here first to make sure I knew where the place was. And you know, if I ended up needing to find a new place to live besides where they set me up, then I would kind of know where the agency was and how close I needed to be to it to be practical. I definitely learned a lot during those modeling days. If it wasn't for that place signing me and getting me down here, I'm not sure if I ever even would have came to Miami, to be quite honest. But you know, life happens in a very interesting way, and it was the right opportunity for me at the right time, and I took it. And I have zero regrets. Even though I'm not an active and working model right now, who cares? It all led me to making one unique decision after another, and eventually got into real estate, and eventually it led to this, you know, doing these YouTube videos. I know people have like that saying that everything happens for a reason. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know if I completely believe in that. But what I do believe is that you can make as many plans as you want, but ultimately things probably aren't going to go exactly to plan. But it's how flexible you are and how well you can adapt to your new situation, I think largely depends on your level of success. You know, I could have came here, started the modeling, and wasn't able to make a full-time living at it, and I could have just said, well, that's it. I'm going back home. I can't make it. But I didn't do that. I got an extra job, started working at a restaurant, so it was enough to pay my bills, took some of the modeling jobs as they came up, and then moved on to the next step, which ended up being real estate for me. Because I really wanted to have my own business. I wanted to work for myself. I just didn't really know how. And real estate was the perfect opportunity for me at the time. But I could have just as easily said, you know what? The modeling thing didn't work out. That's what I came down here for. I'm going back to Illinois. And now, 13 years later, you can see I'm still here. So I guess the point I'm trying to make, guys, is for anybody who's looking to move here or trying to make plans to move to Florida, you know, you have to be adaptable to the situations that might come up. And that will probably end up getting you here in your most ideal situation on top of that. This right across the street is basically one big strip mall with just a ton of little restaurants inside of it. I'm not sure what this place is. Larry's Service Center. I'm not sure what kind of service they provide. Well, there we go. It's an auto shop. To be honest with you, I didn't even know this existed. Because like I mentioned in some of my other videos, I don't really just walk down the neighborhood like this until I started doing these videos. You'll pass by and drive by, but it's really hard to see everything by doing that. You know, you don't pay as much attention, you're trying not to get in an accident, but when you're walking by, you see things from a whole nother perspective. And I'm pretty sure that's what most of you enjoy about these walking tours. I know that's my favorite part of it. Got a real estate office over there. They sort of have a little bit of everything down here with the businesses, you know, lots of different types of restaurants. You know, you have grocery stores, you have like laser hair removal, little boutique shops, almost anything you could want. In such a small little area like that is actually pretty rare. Cool Ferrari. And right up here where we're walking is close to the Tremont Towing. We're going to actually pass right by it. And anybody who might have seen like their reality show, they have like some kind of South Beach towing reality show, something like that. Well, this is their place right here. I don't really watch the show, but I've heard of it. I can't really stand reality TV or anything like that. But anybody who's seen the show, this is the place. Got a little scooter shop over here. And actually, right before we ended up getting the Jeep, we were about to buy a new scooter, and we decided instead to just go for the Jeep. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot more money, but we wanted something safer, more practical, easier to do road trips with, and it was definitely the right decision looking back. This is like the spot where people come to get their car out of the pound. Oh yeah, I forgot about this little building right up here in the corner. This is one other place you could actually live down here. But these units kind of suck if you ask me. I mean, they're very vertically built and not that big. You know, you got to take stairs up and down. Don't really enjoy places like that, but it's probably the most affordable building down here in Sunset Harbor. And if you look across the way, you can see that's an area we covered in the last walking tour. That's Bay Road. And right, the road we just came from is also Bay Road, just the other side of Bay Road, separated by the canal. Got a place here that has like electric scooters and bicycles. And they have a really nice park up here. And we're gonna walk through a bunch of this park. Well, actually, once we get closer to You know what? Let me just take you over there right now. Just wing it. So that area you see straight ahead with all the buildings is not part of this neighborhood either. That's called Belle Isle, and I'll cover that spot in a separate walking tour. And this little bridge, if you keep following this bridge all the way down, will lead you straight into downtown Miami. It's called the Venetian Causeway. And I'm pretty sure was actually the first bridge ever built between Miami and Miami Beach, connecting the mainland to the beach area over here. It's nice and quiet at the park today. I have a little spot here for fishing. So here's a cool little interesting fact about Miami. All these boats you see out there on the water, they're allowed to park out there and dock there for free. So a lot of those boats you see, people actually live on those boats. So they don't pay for one of these expensive houses or apartments, and they still get to enjoy the Miami Beach lifestyle by just being parked right offshore like that. I could never do that. I couldn't live on any kind of boat that's rocking and rolling all the time. That would make me sick as hell. But much respect to anybody that can handle that. And that's a really cheap way to live in a beautiful area like this. Let's have a nice little playground here for the kids. A picnic area. I remember I came over here right as soon as, actually it was right before they opened the beaches back up, towards like the beginning of the pandemic. I think it was back in May or June last year, and this park was absolutely packed because the beaches were still closed. They wouldn't let anybody go to the beach here in Miami, and everyone was at this park because, you know, you have some water here and obviously lots of sun. So it was about as close as you could get to going to the beach. So this place was just jam-packed. It's a good spot to come and launch a paddleboard. You have a little dock here. Actually, it looks like they changed this dock since the last time I was over here. You used to be able to just walk right on out there, and now it looks like you can't anymore. Or maybe you can. Let's see. Oh no, I'm confusing with this other dock up ahead. So yeah, this is a great spot to come down with your paddleboard. It's like a public launch. Anybody can just come down here and launch their board. And this is a great spot to do it, to be honest, because even on a windy day like this, you can see the water is very calm over here. So it's a great spot to learn paddleboarding and get used to it. I actually tried it a couple times and it's pretty tough. Mainly the balance part, that's the tough part for me. It's so beautiful here. So that's the building you saw right in the beginning. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you might have seen that building in some of my B-roll shots and some of my older videos, because I did come down here and take a bunch of cool shots one day and put it in my videos. And as you can see by all the boats up ahead, there's a huge marina up here. I believe this is also a public boat launch. So this is a bigger dock, so you can come here and launch your boat. And then just across the street over there are just more restaurants. There used to be a nightclub over there. I don't know if it's still there or not. It used to be called the Purdy Lounge. Partied over there a couple times back when I first came to Miami. So that was a long time ago. I like that they have these manatee warning signs by all the marinas, making people remember that the ocean doesn't belong to you, even if you have a giant yacht like that. I don't know how many people respect that, but I hope most of them do. And I'm pretty sure anybody can get a boat slip here. You don't have to actually live in this building. I could be wrong. So this building is like multi-purpose. They have some retail shops down here on the back end of the building, and then all of the upstairs is all residential. The sign on the door says Sunset Harbor Yacht Club. And this is a nice little spot right down here by the bay to just go for a little stroll. Most people don't even know it's here. You can see views of downtown that way. A little bit of Star Island too, and Palm Island. And lots of yachts here. Huge ones. And I think the marina here actually has its own little private swimming pool and social club, which you'll see right up here on the right hand side. See? Private property, members only. It's just if you are a member of the marina. This is the end of the road for the marina, guys. And we pretty much covered the entire neighborhood. Right on the other side of these trees is right where we first started. And that's Sunset Harbor for you. I'll see you guys in the next walking tour video.